Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we've got some interesting new projectiles to look at. None of us want a bunch of BBs to the face, that's for sure. So I think one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because, I see these videos where the BBs are shot, with an automatic BB rifle, and it's, you put out a lot of these, and I can see this in the face of a person would be quite distracting. And it would be really nice if you could have a bunch of BBs like this in the face of someone, followed by a JULv as your first shot. And I know what you're thinking right off. These are not 68 caliber, and that's absolutely right. These are BBs. These are red BBs. And I've got a lot of them. I got 5,000. These are Premier Ammo, red plastic BBs. And they are, I can tell you, they are very hard, but of course they are very tiny. And as you can see here, these are extremely hard. And they're red and they're shiny. And each one is 0.12 gram. So what I've been doing here is making little piles with 30 of these BBs each, and I'm laying it on a piece of plastic wrap. And what I'm going to do is make a little projectile that I'm going to call it the raspberry projectile, although I have to deform the shape in order to get it into the barrel, but you can see it looks sort of like a raspberry. So you've got 30 of these, each one is 0.12 gram. So that's a little over 3 grams. So this is basically not that different than in my prior videos where I take an where I take a JULv, which is in the breech, and I load by muzzle loading a projectile, which is about 3 grams. And so here I'm gonna be doing 30 of these BBs, and I wrap it in the plastic wrap just so that the BBs don't run wild. And the advantage of that is that it will allow, now this piece of plastic I've been using too much, so it's already getting to be deformed, but the advantage is once you stuff this in, and you have to sort of deform it and make it into more of a cylinder to get it in. But once you get it in, and I've already damaged this piece of plastic, but once you get it in, the plastic will hold them in place. And they don't need to go in all the way. Unlike the previous projectiles, I can aim down. The barrel does not have to be, pointing up. They'll stay in there, but you have the plug right there at the end. So you're going to have a pretty much a big collision where the JULv is going to launch, and it is then going to hit this bag of 3 grams of these projectiles with 30 BBs, and each of these BBs are going to disperse at that point. And what happens at that point, who knows? But we're gonna fire this thing, and we're gonna see how well these pattern, and then we have several shots here, and we're gonna see how they impact the target. And again, remember that the JULv is going to be coming out right behind. This is going to slow the JULv down a little bit. This is about 3 grams. Actually 30 times 0.12. So it's a little over 3 grams. And it's going to slow down the JULv a little bit. And so let's see what happens. I think it should be interesting. So you can see how I'm wrapping these. I basically just want to completely get them covered in the plastic, and the plastic will keep them from moving around too much. And I think the plastic should keep the BBs from, the BBs should disperse. I don't think the plastic will stop the BBs from spreading under the air pressure once they leave. I think they're gonna quickly get out of this bag and they're gonna spread. The question is, how well are they gonna pattern, and then what's gonna happen after that? That's what we'll find out, but I've got several of them here. All right, so we're here back at the range. I realized a few things, a few caveats of using these in your barrel that I didn't notice when I was planning this. And one is it's not easy to get these into the barrel. It requires a little bit of reshaping and forming and putting them in. And after you're doing that, once you've charged this, that becomes relatively very unsafe, not something you want to be doing. It's one thing to drop one projectile in very carefully, but it's another to be sticking your fingers around there. So after the first shot, we'll have to reassess whether we can do this again. But I did get a set in there, as you can see, and I'm going to charge it and we're going to fire it. And I've got a target up there and I just want to see the pattern. We're not really looking for damage here. These are BBs. But let's see if it blows out of the barrel when I charge it. Nope. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're good to go. And hope that BBs don't go flying literally everywhere, which I believe they will. So let's see what happens. Wow. Looks like it pretty much stayed together. It didn't really break apart like I expected. It gave a pretty big hole, but let's go take a look. There are BBs on the ground. I do see a few on my way, which I did expect them to break, but I expected them to sort of spread out more. So I did get a pattern actually. So we got some BB holes here, 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 and a big, looks like a big one here. This is probably the JULv. I don't see the big spread that I truly expected. I wonder if most of the wad stayed together. All right, next one. Let's go check it out. We're getting a little bit of a spread, but you know, for the first shots were here, and there was a few BBs. Here I had a few holes, starting to get some spreads around, but it's not giving you like 30 holes like you might expect from a you know, a single shot. There are a few holes, and there are some even up in here. So I think it is definitely spreading pretty widely. I'm finding most of the BBs on the ground here. All right, for this third shot, let's go up a little bit closer and see what we get. All right, ready? All right, let's see the results from the third shot. So we're getting some big holes, and I believe that these are probably that wad, and then there are a few that are scattering from the wad. Like for example here, we got some that are starting to spread out, but there's this big wad that goes through, and I believe this is shaped just like that wad was in the inside. And then we're getting these holes, which I think are JULv holes. These are pretty clearly distinct as the JULv holes. And here this looks like a wad as well. These clearly are the BBs, and we'll examine this a little more closely in the better light. Here I see a piece of a BB that is actually embedded inside the paper. So overall, kind of a mixed result. Let's take a look at it a little bit closer. Just as I say that, one of the wad is down here. Here's the JULv, and you can see miscellaneous BBs that have come out. Some of these are from other shots. But then here we have a wad that still has a few BBs in it, so it leaked, but it didn't really just bust open. I probably wrapped this too heavily, but for a first try, I would have thought this would have opened up completely, but I think it broke on impact. And so it was basically a 3.6 gram projectile that, you know, shattered on impact. All right, so let's finish the shooting like we did last time. I'm gonna empty the mag. We got a nice target up there. Let's see what I can do. I'm gonna go for headshots and see what I can do. All right, let's go take a look. Oh, I have to say that the shooting with just the JULvs was a lot easier. These were my headshots, and this sort of fell down. And compared to these shots where I was just trying to get a spread in here, I found that this was a lot more efficient and a lot more accurate. Sometimes we do these experiments and we find that, well, there's no gain of function by adding the extra projectiles, and this was certainly a case where I would say there's very little benefit by adding these little BB shots all around in this particular case. But for the most part, I think my strategy of putting them inside of a bag was not the best for getting good dispersion. A lot of them basically survived inside the bag, and you know, I think they were just wrapped too well, and this sort of just went as a plug. And I think it has to be very gentle, but the thing is, you have 30 of these and you put them in the barrel, they're going to fall everywhere. So this is just not practical in a self-defense, that's for sure. But even as a even for plinking or for trying to get a nice spread for just for fun, it's a real challenge. I did get a few that sort of escaped from the bag and spread, but for the most part, I would consider this a fail. We just didn't get what we wanted. Most of these are okay, but you know, several of these got fractured. I've got pieces of BBs that got fractured, and I guess that's just a consequence of using plastic BBs. These things are very hard, but they will break. So overall, I think that's the summary. Not as satisfying a result as we would have liked, but maybe we'll come up with a better way to do it next time. Anyway, everybody take care out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Hello, Mango. I think she's chilling out now. She doesn't want to go anywhere. If she only knew she was sitting on my lap here.
The box is
That's her safety blankets, the box. I think she's perfectly happy in the box. She don't care where it's at.